Hello, it's story time again. Today I'd like to talk a little bit about hunting. A lot of people like to hunt. I grew up uh, with a father that loved to hunt. Um, and growing up, father had been divorced, but he'd pick us up and we'd go out hunting many a times. And I never had any luck shooting a deer. That's normally what we'd hunt with. Although we did go rabbit hunting, I did have luck with rabbit hunting. I've shot many rabbits, hunting with my father and stuff. Um, see what else we've hunted. I mean, my father would hunt um, sometimes duck, not too much, but um, pheasant. He'd like to hunt pheasant stuff. So there's many things you can hunt for. Um, like I said, the memories that I remember is going out hunting with my dad, and I did out of all the years I've hunted, I probably only deer hunting, that is. I probably only shot maybe a total of 3 deer, maybe four, three, with a rifle. I've also bow hunted. Um, there's especially like bow hunting. Um, there's something about it, setting out in the woods and just, with nature, seeing if you can outsmart the deer. I did get one deer with a bow, um, and you're sitting there, and I was actually sitting on the ground, um, and it came up and not too far away from me. I was sitting just off a little trail, and I was sitting there, and you hear a noise or something, and then you look around, and there it is, and you stand still, and then it see me, but then it jumped up, and it ran, but it didn't go very far. But when it ran, it gave a chance to pull it, and then it stopped. It didn't go very far, and then I let go that quick. It just happened so quick, and I was able to get that deer, and that's the only one I got with the bow. I've had many adventures of, you're setting up at a tree stand, and it's about dark, and I don't know if any of you guys have ever experienced anything like that before, but it's about dark, and these deer just come in, but they're teasing you, They're just out just a little bit farther than what you think you can shoot, and they're just teasing you. It's getting dark, and you got to go pretty soon, and you think, man, I'm just going to try it. So you let go, and you shoot underneath their belly, and they run away, and I've had a few of those different stories. That's happened. As far as rifle, hunting with a rifle, I've only shot like 2 or 3 in my hunting experience. I've only shot one buck. You can get it, doe permits, that type of thing. So, you can't eat the horns. A lot of people say, but it's still nice to shoot a buck if you can. So as buck that I shot, just happened to be my father. At one time owned some property. He bought some property, and I think maybe 40 acres. I'm not exactly sure how many acres it was, but it was a nice little piece of property. That he did a little bit of farming. Not much, but a little bit, and one morning, during deer season, I think it was opening day, and I decided to go over there and hunt, and he had a couple blinds, and I sat in one of them, and it was probably about 10 o'clock, and like I said, you hear the rustling, you look around, try to figure out where it's coming from, and then you finally, through deer walks through, opening there, you see, and you just pull up and, scope and that, and you, boom, one shot and it was down. Um, you got to learn, it's about hunting deer and stuff. You got to learn where to shoot them. You just don't shoot anywhere. You got to aim at a certain part of the body. It's better to aim for the front shoulders, the top of the back, and usually, the top of the back. If you can do it right, it breaks their back and they're down. I don't know. I mean, if anybody has any story, wants to comment about where they think is the best place to shoot a deer, or whatever, feel free. I've as my thoughts, different things. Doing this, I have never really done this too much. This is probably my fifth video or whatever. Things changed. I decided that, I need to ask you guys, your thoughts and opinion on different things. And I'm going to try and do that on most of my videos from now on. Ask some kind of question. What do you think about that? How many people like to hunt? What kind of hunting have you done? Because, you're important too. And, it's just good for me to talk, but it's also good for me to listen and to hear what you have to say. And I'm open to your comments. And although it's Papa Smurfs here today too, and I picked up. Sorry, this is the 80s. 80s version of Sorry, roughly around there, I believe. This is kind of the one I sort of, if I remember right, kind of grew up with. I've got one from when I was a kid. I love playing Sorry too. There's just a lot of different games that I like to play, and that's kind of why I'm showing them to you, every time. I've got so many. Like I said, I've got about 100 or so games in my house here in my apartment. And when I run out of them, I hope by then I'll have a place so I can bring my other, couple thousand games. But well, anyways, I don't want to keep my videos too long. Hope you kind of enjoyed this one. But I'm just gonna. Tell a few stories. I'll try and make them interesting a little bit more too. But hopefully I don't run out of things to say. I do got a lot of stories in my life, and I hope you enjoy them.